So far, we have discussed FTP through FTP Part 1, how it governs legislation and other silent features. And now I'm going to discuss about provisions which are applicable into import and export of the goods. Export and imports are free unless regulated. It's free except from legislation by FTP or any other law in force. The item-wise export and import policy shall be specified in ITC, notified by the DGFT from time to time. These are classified as free, restricted, prohibited, exclusive trading through the state trading enterprises. Compliance with the law. Every exporter or importer shall comply with the provision of FT-DNR Act, the rules and order made thereunder, the FTP and terms and conditions of any authorization granted to him. All the imported goods shall be subject to domestic laws, rules, orders, regulations, technical specification, environmental and safety norms as applicable to domestic produced goods unless specifically exempted. Interpretation of policy. If any doubt arises in respect of interpretation of any provision, said doubt shall be referred to DGFT, whose decision thereon shall be final and binding. Procedure. DGFT may specify procedures to be followed by any exporter or importer or by any other licensee or any other competent authority for the purpose of implementing provisions of the Foreign Trade Act, the rules along with the orders made thereunder and FTP. Such procedures always get published in Handbook of the Procedures by means of public notice. Exemption from policy. DGFT can pass any order with respect to relaxation on ground of genuine hardship in public interest and any adverse impact on the trade. DGFT can exempt any person or class or category of persons from any provisions of FTP, or any procedures can impose such condition as they may deem fit. Export import of restricted goods or services. Any goods services exported or imported for which is restricted under the ITC HS may be exported or imported only in accordance with the authorization or in terms of public notice issued in this regard. Terms and condition with respect to authorization. Every authorization shall be valid for prescribed period of validity and shall inter alia include the following terms and conditions in addition to condition as may be specified, which includes your quantity, description and value of goods, actual user condition, export obligation, achieve the minimum value addition, minimum export import price and bank guarantee, legal undertaking and bond under the custom duty authorities. Authorization. No person can claim an authorization as a right, and DGFT shall have power to refuse to grant or renew the same in accordance with the provision of FTDR Act rules and made under the foreign trade policy. Penalty. If any authorization holder fails to fulfill export obligation or any other condition, he shall be liable for action in accordance with the FTDR Act rules and order made thereunder, FTP and other laws for time being in force. Now let's discuss about state trading enterprise. What is state trading enterprise? State trading includes other government and non-government enterprise, including marketing board, which deal with the goods for export and import. Any goods import or export for which is governed through exclusive or special privilege granted to state trading enterprises may be imported or exported by STE only as per the condition as specified in ITC HS. DGFT may, however, grant an authorization to any other person to import or export any of these goods. Now let's discuss about import export code. Import export code is a unique 10-digit code issued by DGFT to importer or exporter. It is mandatory to export the goods out of India or to import any goods into India. Permanent account number is prerequisite for grant of an IAC, and only single IAC can be issued against a single PAN. DGFT had decided to use income tax PAN as IAC number. That is, IAC will be issued by DGFT with different difference that will be alphanumeric instead of 10-digit numeric at present, will be the same as PAN of an entity. With the introduction of GST, GST in would be used for the purpose of credit flow of IGST on import of the goods and refund or rebate of IGST related to export of the goods. Now it has been decided that importer and exporter need to declare only GST in at the time of import and export of the goods for residuary categories. UIN issued by the GSTN and authenticated by the GFT will be used. For others, common number will be notified by the DGFT. A new application for IAC or modification has to be made electronically by applicant via digital signature, that is class 2 or class 3. Further, only the following are required to upload along with the applicant for IAC. Digital photograph of signatory applicant, copy of the PAN card of the business entity in whose name import or export would be done, applicant individual in case of proprietorship firm, cancelled check being entity's pre-printed name or bank certificate is prescribed, form ANFDA 2As. In case of STP, ESTP, BTP units, the regional office of the DGFT having jurisdiction over the district in which registered office or head office of the STPI is located shall issue or amend the IECs. Trade with neighboring countries. DGFT has authorization to issue instruction or frame schemes as may be required to promote trade and strengthen the economic tie along with the neighboring countries. Transit facility. Transit of goods through India or from to countries adjacent to India shall be regulated in accordance with the bilateral trade treaties between the Indian and these countries and will be subject to such restriction as may be specified by the DGFT in accordance with the international conventions. Now I'm going to discuss about mandatory document which are required while I'm doing import or export of the goods. Document of export of goods includes your bill of lading, airway bill, lorry receipt, railway receipt, postal receipt, commercial invoice, packing list, then shipping bill or bill of export. While at the time of import of the goods, bill of lading, airway bill, lorry receipt, railway receipt, postal receipt, and commercial invoice, packing list, and bill of entry. Now let's discuss provisions which are related to import of goods. Actual user condition. Goods which are imported without restriction may be imported by any person. However, if such imports require authorization, actual user alone may import such goods unless actual user condition is specifically dispensed with the DGFT. Second-hand goods. Import of the second-hand capital goods include the refurbished, reconditioned spares shall be allowed freely. However, second-hand personal computers, laptops, photocopier machines, air conditioners, diesel generated sets will only be allowed against the authorization. Second-hand goods except the second-hand capital goods shall be restricted for imports and may be imported only against the authorization. Removal of scrap from the SEZ. Any waste or scrape or remnant, including any form of metallic waste and scrap generated during the manufacturing and process activity of an SEZ unit, developer co-developer shall be allowed to dispose in DTA, that is domestic tariff area, freely, subject to payment of applicable custom duty. Import of the gifts and samples. Import of the gift and shall be permitted where such goods are otherwise freely imported under the ITC-HS. In other cases, a custom clearance permit shall be required for DGFT. Import of the sample shall be governed by the prescribed procedures. Authorization for import of the sample is required only in case of vegetable seeds, bees, and new drugs. Export of samples of tea up to 2000 CIF per consignment will be allowed without authorization. Samples up to INR 3 lakh can be imported by all exporter without duty. Now let's discuss about passenger bags. Bona fide household goods and personal effects can be imported as part of passenger baggage as per limits, terms and conditions thereof in the Baggage Rules 1998. Sample of such items that are otherwise freely importable under the FTP may also be imported as part of passenger baggage without an authorization. Exporters coming from the abroad are also allowed to import drawings, patterns, label, price tags, buttons, belts, trimming, and embellishment required for export as part of their passenger baggage without any authorization. Import of the goods repaired abroad. Capital goods, equipments, components, parts, and accessories, whether imported or indigenous, except those restricted under the ITC-HS, may be sent abroad for repair, testing, quality improvement, or upgradation or standardization of the technology and imported without an authorization. Import of the goods used in the project abroad. After the completion of project abroad, project contractors may import without an authorization goods including capital goods used in the project, provided they have used for at least 1 year. Now I'm going to discuss about sale on high seas. Sale of goods on high seas for the import into India may be made subject to FTP or any other law in force. Import under the lease financing. It is permitted freely. Permission of regional authority is not required for import of capital goods under the lease financing. However, RBI approval is required in some cases. Clearance of goods from customs. Goods already imported, shipped, arrived in advance but not cleared from the customs may also be cleared against an authorization issued subsequently. However, this facility will not be available to restricted items or items traded through STEs. Execution of bank guarantee, letter of undertakings. Wherever goods are imported duty free or otherwise specifically stated, importer shall execute prescribed letter of undertaking, bank guarantee, bond with custom authority before clearance of the goods. In case of indigenous sourcing, authorization holder shall furnish letter of undertaking, bank guarantee, bond to RA concerned before sourcing material from indigenous supplier nominated agency as per the prescribed procedures. Now let's discuss about private public bonded warehouse for import. Private public bonded warehouse may be set up in domestic tariff area as per the terms and condition notification issued by the Department of Revenue. Any person may import goods except prohibited items, arms and ammunition, hazards, waste and chemicals and warehouse them in such bonds warehouse. Such goods may be cleared for home consumption against authorization. Whenever required, custom duty as applicable shall be paid at the time of clearance of such goods. If such goods are not cleared for home consumption within a period of 1 year or such extended period as the custom authority may permit. Importer of such goods shall re-export the goods. Now I'm going to discuss provisions relating to export of goods. First, start with the free export. All goods may be exported without any restriction except to the extent that such export is regulated by the ITCHS or any other provision of FTP, foreign trade policy, or any other law for the time being in force. DGFT may, however, specifically through a public notice such terms and conditions according to such goods not included in ITCHS may be exported without any authorization. Export of samples. Export of samples and free of charge goods shall be governed by the prescribed procedures. Export of bona fide trade and technical samples of freely exportable without any limit. In case of restricted item, application should be made to DGFT. Such samples can be exported as part of passenger baggage without an authorization. Export of the passenger baggage. Bona fide personal baggage may be exported either along with passenger or if unaccompanied with and 1 year before or after passenger's departure from India. However, items mentioned is restricted in ITCHS shall require an authorization. Government of India officials proceedings abroad on official posting shall, however, be permitted to carry along with their personal baggage food items free, restricted, or prohibited strictly for their personal consumption. Sample of such items that are otherwise freely exportable under the FTP may also be exported as part of the passenger baggage without an authorization. Now let's discuss about export of gifts. Goods including edible items of value including exceeding value which value not exceeding 5 lakh in a licensing year may be exported as a gift. However, item mentioned as restricted for export in ITC HS4 shall be exported as a gift without an authorization. For export of the samples, gifts, spare parts, replacement goods, other SCOMET items in case of sealing period applicable can be made in DGFT in the form ANF2Q. Export of spares. Warranty spares of plant, equipments, machinery, automobiles or any other goods exported may be exported along with equipment or subsequently but within contracted warranty period of such goods subject to approval of RBI. Third party export. Third party exports means export made by the exporter or manufacturer on behalf of another exporters. In such cases, export documents such as shipping bills shall indicate name of the both manufacturing exporter, manufacturer, third party exporter, BRC, GR declaration, export order and invoice should be made in the name of third party exporter. Such third party exporter shall be allowed under foreign trade policy. Export documents such as shipping bills shall indicate name of the both manufacturing exporter, manufacturer and third party exporters. BRC export order and invoice should be in the form of third party exporter. Export of the imported goods. Goods imported in accordance with foreign trade policy may be exported in same or substantially in the same form without an authorization, provided that items to be imported or exported is not restricted for import or export in ITCHS. Export of such goods imported against the payment is in freely convertible currency would be permitted, provided export proceeds are realized in freely convertible currency. However, export of such goods to notified countries will be permitted in Indian rupee subject to at least 15% value addition. Such exports shall be eligible for an export incentives. Export of Replacement goods. Goods or parts thereof are being exported and found defective, damaged, may be replaced free of charge by the exporter, and such goods shall be allowed clearance by the custom authority, provided that replacement goods are not mentioned as restricted item for export in ITCHS.